Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. We have the Lewit MTP 250DM. They also make a DMS. That means the S means you get a switch, which, yeah, it's going to screw with your frequency responses. Don't worry. Trust me, I know this really well. Don't buy mics with switches unless you know what you're getting yourself into. Switches can be, well, pretty cheaply made nowadays, and they do tend to break down. So, thinking no switch is actually better. However, to each their own, I always say, because I do happen to have a mic here by Shure that has a switch. Only because I didn't have a lot of money back then, so hey, it was a starting point. But let's take a look at this Lewit here, and let's take a look at prices too. This thing will set you back $134.99 Canadian, okay? Now, it is a corduroy pattern, polar pattern, and it has a frequency range response of 60 hertz to 18,000 hertz. All right, now, many of you do not have a freaking clue what I just said, but I will try and give it to you in layman's terms throughout this video so that you do. And currently, we are listening to the PGA48, okay? Which is a really cheap mic. It's about 69 bucks, somewhere around there. Let's actually go take a look. So we're looking at 59 actually. Sorry, my bad. But that is no cable included. That gives you a case, a clip, and the mic. And of course, it's in a box, right? That's 59. For $10 more, you can get it with an XLR to XLR. And for somewhere in between, you can go XLR to 1/4 inch tip sleeve, which means unbalanced. You need to keep your stuff balanced. So use XLR to XLR. Anyways, the PGA48 we're using right now has a frequency response range of 70 hertz to 15,000. Also, all these mics have the same corduroy pattern, okay? Now, 70 to 15,000, the Lewit high end is 18,000, with the Lewit's low end at 60. 10 hertz ain't nothing to write home about. It's not going to make it or break it. 3,000 hertz on the high side, though, now that is a big jump, okay? Let's look at the SM57, shall we? It's 40 hertz to 15,000. So it's 3,000 less on the high, but on the low side, it actually does beat out by 20 hertz, the Lewit. So that is something to write home about on the low side of the frequency spectrum. The SM58, on the other hand, is 50 to 15,000. So you'll notice that when it comes to the high side, the Shure mics are all at 15,000, and not much difference on the low side. But when you look at the Lewit at the low side being 60 to even the SM58 being 50, the 57 is 40. I'm starting to see some math here. The Shure, of course, is at 70, okay? Now, the Shure PGA48 here that we're using, it happens to be considered to be a vocal mic. Now, it's not a professional vocal mic, but you can get away with an awful lot with this thing, okay? I did for many years doing professional recordings and never had an issue, okay? But it is a thing where it's to each their own, but just be aware that frequency responses do make a difference. So the lower number you have on the low side and the higher number you have on the high side, the better things are going to be for you for what you can actually adjust and also how sensitive these things are too. Anyhow, so let's switch over to the Lewit and see what it sounds like. Now, this is the Lewit mic, and I'm keeping the same proximity distance between these two. I'm actually a little further away than normal by a few inches, but that's okay. We are still getting some really good pickup from the mic either way. Now, what I want to do here is a bit of talking between the two. Near toward the end of the video, I'm going to switch off between them, and then we're going to I'm going to have to listen to it, and then I'll give you my opinion of the Lewit mic. I will tell you which mic, of course, is which at the time, so that you are very much aware of that. And right now, we are going to switch back to the PGA48, the really cheap mic. And all I'm going to do is play a few chords on the guitar. that's it. We're going to see how they actually do pick up, even for the distance I have to be away, which is way too much for miking up a guitar, but how well will they actually pick up? That's a good question. So I am now going to switch back over to the Shure mic because we're going to do the Shure mic first. Okay, this is our Shure mic. Let's go grab a guitar. All right, so the distance that I am away right now is almost 3 feet from the microphones. Okay, so now we're on the Lewit mic. All right, so now it's up to you guys to decide which mic sounded better, the Lewit or the Shure for the guitar. And of course, with talking, it's also up to you. So now we move on to the next portion of this, where we're going to go back to, I'm just trying to track my cables and which one's which. Now we're going to go back to the Shure mic. So this is the Shure mic, and of course, this is our part where I get to listen back and see what I think of them both, and then I'll give you my own opinion, then you can state yours down below. So that being said, this is the Shure mic, and this is approximately 6-8 inches away, kind of thing. All right. And, you know, I'm looking at the needles on my thing here, and yeah, we're punching a pretty good signal. So let me switch over now to the Lewit mic. Now, this is our Lewit mic, and it does seem that it has a little bit more punch, that's for sure. And so, you know, with that being said, I am now going to take off, and I will be back instantaneously for you with my findings between these two microphones. Well, I went back, I listened to the guitar sections. Didn't hear a ton of difference, but a little bit, okay? On the talking side of the fence, though, I did actually hear quite a bit of difference. And we are actually using the Lewit mic right now because, well, this stupid switch finally gave up the ghost. Damn it! Anyways, so it looks like I'm going to go rent an SM58 today because now I don't know if I can successfully get this thing apart and just bypass the switch altogether. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but either way, it's a cheap mic, man. I mean, it's a cheap mic. And I've had this thing for years, but it's been sitting for the last couple of years just in the corner doing nothing, right? So I think I probably should never have gotten rid of my SM58. This is actually a prime example, by the way, of why you don't buy microphones that have switches in them. Because when the switch goes, that's it, right? Unless you know how to hotwire stuff, and I do. I just don't know how I'm going to get this thing apart with being safe and still getting it reassembled properly, because I have a really bad feeling about this. And usually when I have a really bad feeling, I'm usually right. So yeah, that's going to kind of scare me. But yeah, Switch finally gave up the ghost. So we're using the Lewit. So I guess because I have to go to Long McQuaid today anyways to take care of some business, I'm going to be coming home with an SM58, and guess what? We get to compare an SM58 against this Lewit. Now, you already know the specs already, and if you don't recall, the Lewit has, what was it again, 200 I think I read it somewhere here. 280 ohms is the impedance on it. The SM58 is actually 300 ohms, which, well, that's not a whole heck of a lot of difference. That's like 20 ohms difference in resistance there. Now, the frequency response is 50 to 15,000 on the 58. The Lewit is at 60 to 18,000. Okay, so should be interesting, considering this old girl was 70 to 15,000 at 600 ohms. That's a big jump. So it's cheap. It's a good vocal mic for karaoke, but you know, and I have used this in a lot of my recordings in past videos from years ago. Never had any issues, never had any complaints either, as far as the audio from it went. But I had to start somewhere, right? Because, you know, it's kind of like one of those things, like we all have a limited budget. Mine's getting even more stretched out since yesterday. I'm like, did I really spend that much money at L&M yesterday? I just can't believe I did that. But at least it did solve a few things, right? So now I got to try and recover from all that. But now I got to go rent another mic either way, because now I have to buy a new mic. And until next month, funds are a little shy. So renting is cheap though. And so I'm going to rent an SM58, and I'm going to compare it against this one. We are going to have a shootout between them. Now, you can decide for yourself which one you would like in the end either way, but I have to make the decision myself of, you know, once the rental times are up, which one am I going to go for? And I do have some thorough testing, because one of the things that was pointed out to me by the guy at Long McQuay that actually uses one of these things when he's playing gigs and he's singing, he uses this exact Lewit mic, and he said frontal pattern, perfect. Coming off to the side, not so great. And that's where the Shures win out. They have the ability to come off the sides a lot better than what the Lewit does. But the Lewit definitely has some pretty nice punch on the front forward. And, you know, I'm almost 2 feet away from the mic right now. And I can tell you from looking at that, I mean, we're still getting pretty decent pickup. And if I move even closer, it can get even better. You know what I mean? So I am going to rent a SM58 today. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to shoot it out against this one. Not right away, though. I want to play with it for a day or two myself. And besides, I got another piece of gear that I want to do for you guys first. And another product I picked up. And we're going to do those videos. So we'll get back to that. But do let me know in the comments below. I mean, given the fact that this was working at the time, let me know what you thought of the sound difference between the two with the guitar, as well as when I did that switch over between talking. I honestly did not hear a ton load of difference with the guitar. It was there, but it wasn't a ton. Yes, the Lewit was more the winner. Definitely with vocal talking, the Lewit definitely did the job much better. This thing was lower and thinner sounding. Kind of reminded me of that Windbridge mic we tried the other day. And man, that thing was actually horrifying. On its own karaoke machine, it sounds great. But for this stuff, well, yeah, this kind of blew the doors off the Windbridge in a heartbeat. So, but anyway, teach their own, I guess. And now I have another windsock. But we will see if I can fix that PG8. If I do fix it, and I can fix it, I will let you know, and the kind of hell you have to go through in order to get it apart. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and we will definitely catch you guys on the next one. See ya.